All right, let's start again because now I've finally got the audio really working. This is the problem with starting something when you just feel like starting and working on something straight away. Um, so I was trying to say that I'm probably someone who's got ADHD. My There's a few family members in my family who have ADHD or ADHD type tendencies. Um, and it's it's what's how do I phrase it? Like it's interesting. It's almost like a superpower. I'm going to change the views around a little bit so it's like a little bit interesting for everyone as well. Yeah, it's like almost like a superpower in a lot of ways because you get hyper focused on things. Um, it's good and bad. The hyper focus mode, if you like, is good in terms of I want to do something. I want to get involved and learn something and just really go deep into a subject. The problem is focus, and the understanding I've got so far of ADHD is that you get a dopamine fix, which is the thing, the enjoyment factor, the feeling good is what actually is driving decisions on what you're going to do next or the goals you're setting to achieve things that you want to achieve in any given instance or any time. Um, and so that makes it interesting when you have commitments and you want to do things which are ultimately a good way forward for long term sustainability, life, money, income, jobs. And kind of looking back at my life, I'm 61 and a half years old. So looking back at my life, I can see that that's driven me to do things to ultimately, I think, succeed. But of late, is becoming harder to have the flexibility to make mistakes or do the wrong thing for the too long. And I'm saying that because luckily I'm married to someone who is a lot more stable. So, and she's able to sustain the family financially now, where I probably have not been able to the last 2.5 years, maybe even longer, getting on to 3 years now. So I was working in IT for, God, 25 plus years, and I did reasonably well. I got um, to a point of being Scrum Master and a project manager on a number of projects around the country and working with pretty big name brand companies as well. Um, but I always was contracting. I never really went permanent full time. I was in my early career. I was in one job for 9 years with the government, and I liked that at the uni where I was studying. And I did okay at uni. I didn't do extremely well. I'm not a great student, but I still love learning. I just love learning in my own way. And I started working where I studied and then continued that into some work in the city, working for a mining company in the IT area, and then moved over to NRMA, which is a motorist association with an insurance arm as well. So stayed there for about 3 years and then started contracting over in Perth. And since about 1996, I think it was. Yeah, I started contracting, and then I pretty much contracted from 1996 up until 2023. So a good number of years there. Um, so I never really had a place where I could just stay, get long, what's it called, a long service leave. So after 10 years, you get something like, I don't know, 10 weeks of paid leave. I never really wanted that. So I stayed in contracting, and because of that, it made it easy for companies to let me go when they no longer needed my services. So I'd finished majority of my contracts, but in the last, say, from about the year 2000 on, it was getting harder to finish the contracts. The work pressure was getting higher and higher, um, and the expectations were getting higher and higher as well. Um, and the pressure was always on. And I'm one of those people that, you know, dopamine junkie, just go and find the thing that I enjoy doing the most. That's what I would take with me wherever I went in work or in my non-work life. And so that obviously is something that businesses can't really afford to do. They can't afford to pay someone a pretty good wage and just have them do whatever they want to do. So I think that worked against me, to be honest. But at the same time, I tried to actually do the best job that I could do and get the work done. So I did that reasonably well. It's just harder and harder now to get into roles. Like, it's very competitive. So with AI and the more and more people losing their jobs to AI, and it's not direct. It's not a direct replacement of jobs with AI. It's more people can get more things done with the use of a tool like AI. So, for example, instead of having a business analyst and a project manager on one project team with developers and testers and things like that, you could blend the roles together, which is the trend I saw happening, where project managers and business analysts would be blended into one role. Either the BA would take on PM roles or the PM would take on BA roles. And then with AI, it's becoming even worse. The business analysts, who typically get paid a little bit less than the project managers, not always, but typically, the management could then put more pressure on the business analyst to do the PM role, using AI to do their own role and the PM role together. And that's a trend that I think has been um, becoming more popular here in Sydney, at least, anyway. So, because of that, I'm used to getting paid a lot of money. So, to ask for the same kind of money is possible, but it's very, very competitive because there are more and more people who do what I do, who probably are able to. I'm going to be careful what I say here because I'm not going to call them out and out liars, but they will bend the truth to suit whatever it is they need to have happen. I think you know what I'm talking about. So they can do that better than I can. I'm I'm someone who's been raised with that Protestant work ethic, and um, I got taught at a very young age the importance of being someone who tells the truth and tries to stick to the truth. Although I know in all of us we have that ability to lie to ourselves and do things that we just want to do. I still think on the outside surface level, I just can't seem to do the extent of stretching the truth the way that others do. I stretch the truth in other ways, but you know, we're all got that ability. I don't really want to become that kind of a person. I don't know. Something in me just, it must be my upbringing. I just find it hard to live with myself, knowing that I haven't done or haven't said what is really happening. Yeah, that's just me. So anyway, that's probably working against me in a lot of ways. So um, what I'm saying is ADHD is probably underlying the situation that I find myself in now, where I can't seem to get back into IT, not easily. I've got to redo my resume, so I'm still going to try, but it's still a lot harder than I recall. Plus my age working against me. There is ageism out there, but it's not the major factor for me. I don't think it's more the way my resume is written and how things have changed in the last couple of years. So my resume is written for a person to read it, whereas nowadays pretty much all resumes are kind of filtered through a AI agent, and if they're not set up the right way for keywords, then it just gets rejected straight up. So I've got to redo mine to make it fit into that kind of a paradigm. But this is not where I wanted to go. What I'm talking about is ADHD and how it's affected my life, and why I like it and why I don't like it. And the reason I like it is because I get to do what I want to do. I just, live my life on chasing that interest, that dopamine hit where it feels good. Um, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because I recently took stock in my mind of all the things that I've bought that cost lots of money, that I've pursued that interest in, and it's been good because it opens up my understanding, especially in technology, about how things work and why they work, and how one thing in one field affects the understanding or opens up more understanding in other fields. So photography into electronics, for example, or writing code, how that affects the logic of how things work. It's a interesting kind of a retrospective look on my side to look back to see how things have changed and why I do what I do and how I think the way I think. So I'm really glad I followed my dad's advice to not go into music. I got accepted into a music degree when I first started contemplating going to uni. And my dad was against that and advised that I go in to do something else, so science or something like that. So I chose computer science. At the time, there were only a couple of computer science courses being offered. So I did a Bachelor of Science. In fact, I started out with electrical engineering, but the maths was just too advanced. So I swapped over to a Bachelor of Science with computing and electronics or physics as the electives or the majors and minors. And I'm glad I did that because it really was a lot easier for me to cope with and was a more general discipline as opposed to electrical engineering, which is quite specific. And I'm glad I got that general approach to help me to think about what to do and how to tackle problems. Um, so it's been really good. I'm glad I did that. And that's led me to, follow and pursue the interests that I have um, across all kinds of places and um, yeah, all kinds of interests. So it's yeah, it's really interesting the way things have worked out. And it's brought me now to where I am at this point in my life. And music is still a really strong interest to me, and you can see maybe from this view here. So you can see there's a controller over here. I've got the push to over here, and then over this side. Oh, in fact, we could probably do it this way. So down here, there's if I focus it a bit, maybe I like the look of that. By the way, out of focus. Anyway, so this here is a controller for use with Ableton Live, where I can control. I'll show you what I mean. I can control the click tracks. So these tracks here, they correspond to the pads on this this controller here. So that matrix is pretty much an mirror image of what's on the screen. The push to has got a similar grid pattern. This MIDI mix is basically a mixing desk, and I'm configuring it so that I can use that in place of the mouse on the screen, because using a mouse for me is not enjoyable. I don't like it. I prefer to use the little twisty knobs and the faders and things like that, and the buttons and the lights. I like all that stuff. So that's why I've got that gear there. And I'm still really interested in music, as you can tell. So, and I think this is why I've got the number of people on the channel who are still with me on this journey. So it's not a big channel, this YouTube channel that I've put together, and over the years I've wanted it to be big, and I've wanted to get big numbers, for ego and things like that. But I'm glad that it's not worked out that way, because I think it would have burnt me out trying to still grow the channel and get more and more and more subscribers. Like I mean, part of me would still love that, but it's more interesting to me that I can have the flexibility to do what I want, and you seem to all still stay subscribed, which is awesome. Because I'm thinking maybe I've tapped into a small community of ADHDers in the 40 plus age bracket who kind of enjoy the disjointed, random kind of videos that I put together. Like there's looking back on the years that I've been doing my YouTube channel and uploading videos, nothing is truly consistent There's no niche, if you like. It's just me and what I get up to, and it could be flying a drone or getting an underwater remote vehicle, or getting a new guitar, or getting a new piece of equipment, new bit of software, understanding photography, um, writing, or drawing, or playing bass or synthesizers love of late. So I'm glad that you're sticking around. I appreciate that. But I'm coming to the realization that I'm okay with people if you unsubscribe. It's going to be okay because I'm doing this not so much now for building a channel of dedicated subscribers, but more um, looking back over the years. I'm enjoying looking back at the videos I put together randomly from time to time, just to see snippets of my family in the background. There's very occasionally, most of the time that they're not there, but also just seeing what's been of interest to me at that stage in my life and what's going on. Um, yeah, because when did I start this channel? I think I started it in YouTube. Actually, I got my first account in 2006, I think it was, maybe a year after YouTube first was first started, because I think YouTube started in 2005, and I was still at was I at uni? I can't remember. No, I wasn't at uni then. In my job at uni, I wasn't there. Just trying to think the first time I saw YouTube. I can't even remember. Anyway, yeah. So, um, but I uploaded a video of a kangaroo. Was in the street, and I had my 1.3 megapixel mobile phone camera viewing this camera bounding along one of the streets here where I live in Camden. And it's got up to like 2,500 views or something last time I checked. Uh, and it's one of the first videos I uploaded. And I really enjoyed that it got into the internet and is kind of has stayed there. And it made me realize, wow, I could do this more and more. So that's what kind of kicked off the whole YouTube interest. I've always liked watching YouTube. Um, yeah, but I never thought that I'd be able to do something where the quality has improved in terms of getting gear now that we can all afford, well, in general, to make videos and do things with. So it's been really interesting to see that progression of YouTube, and I've got the feeling YouTube's going to be around for quite some time. I can't see it being replaced by something else soon. And I think more and more people are watching YouTube in place of TV as well. So it's really interesting. Um, yeah, so what's kicked off today's kind of video is the idea here of, where is it? I want to um, I want to use this gear on the desk here with Ableton Live, and what I'm going to do is map out um, what the keys. So on this device here, I've got faders and knobs and buttons and so forth. What I want to do is map them to uh, to these sliders and functions over here. So in particular, I want to map out this. See here, that send there, A and B. So that's already done automatically. So when I move, well, all right, this is editing, Andrew. I'm editing the video that you're watching now, and it's extremely long and rambling, and I'm repeating pretty much the same concept. And then I morph into, from ADHD, I morph into what I'm trying to achieve with Ableton Live, and these these items that we kind of briefly touched on, the push to, the Akai gear, etc. And so what I want to do is kind of work out a nice way to end the video, and there's no real nice way with the video that I've got to work with. So instead, what I'm going to do is transition a little bit into some activities I've been doing today, which I'm kind of happy with the progress that has been made. I'm putting a rainwater storage tank in, and it's basically from nothing except what's in my head into what we're going to see evolve in the next, hopefully the next week. So I'll show you what I've done so far, and then we'll just keep on adding to the final thing to get the rainwater storage tank done. There we go. So I'm going to just talk over the top of what you see going on and go from there. So there's a slab which I had to dig out and put road base down and compact, and then let that kind of set overnight. And then tomorrow what we'll do is we'll get some formwork going, get some Rio bar in there, cut up the Rio bar with a grinder, which I've got to buy, and then get my cement mixer, which I've got in the shed, buy some cement, some sand and cement, mix that up, and then pour it in, and yeah, in the formwork that I put together, and edge it and make it look pretty, and then let it sit for about 3 days. Then the tank will come in, and then I've got an electrician organised to come in on Thursday, and I've got a plumber organised to come in. In fact, I've got to let them know when that tank is coming in. Hopefully next week. Yeah, so we'll just do a bit of an update as everything happens with that in the background as well. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so I should be doing a live. So hopefully see you guys then. Take it easy in the meantime. Bye for now. Bye.